Hey everybody, it's Michael from Wahoo Comics here with another haul and speculation video. And as usual, I've got a bunch of books I'm looking forward to showing you, starting off with several Wolverine Keys, including this one, Wolverine #1, the first issue of his first solo series. Now this is a book that I have a few copies of, and anytime I can find one at a good price, I pick it up. Of course, Wolverine is in that very top tier of popular comic characters, like Batman and Spider-Man, who people just love. And of course, no comic book is 100% safe investment, but if you're looking for safe, investing in the keys of those top tier characters is as safe as it can be. And so this is a great book to have. In addition to being the first issue in his first solo series, it's also the debut of his patch persona. So just a cool book for any collection, and again, a relatively safe investment. And so I'm glad to have another copy. As I talked about last week, of course, Disney recently announced they're going to have a new animated X-Men series that's a sequel to the '90s series that I grew up on. And I think that animated series is just going to make these X-Men characters even more popular, which is hard to imagine because they're obviously already super popular as it is. But I think these keys are going to get even bigger. And in addition, there's rumors that Wolverine might be in the next Doctor Strange movie, where, of course, if you know anything about it, he's going to be exploring the multiverse. And I'm pretty sure it's confirmed that Patrick Stewart is reprising his role as Professor X. And there's real strong rumors that Hugh Jackman might be reprising his role as Wolverine. And so nothing confirmed, but of course if that happened, then these keys are going to get even hotter than they've been. And so again, a great book to have, and especially once you've been priced out, like pretty much all of us, of Wolverine's Tier 1 keys, like his debut in Incredible Hulk 181 or 180, depending on how you think about it. Then a book like this is a great second-tier book to have in your collection, I think. Another book that is neat that I picked up is Wolverine #4, and this contains the first appearances of the villains Roughhouse and Bloodsport. And this is a budget-friendly key. You can probably pick this up for just a few bucks in a back issue bin. And there's no rumors about those characters coming anytime soon into the MCU, but there are rumors that Wolverine might have an anthology series on Disney+. And of course, if they had this episodic Wolverine show, then there's going to be a debut of many villains. And so who knows who they might put in those shows if it happens. Maybe they put in some characters like this. And if they do, of course, this book goes from a few dollars to $30, $40 pretty easily. But even if it doesn't, again, first appearances of cool villains are always something I love to personally add into my collection, even though these are definitely second-tier Wolverine villains. But of course, the big first-tier Wolverine villain is Sabretooth. And so I also picked up Wolverine #10, which is the first appearance of Sabretooth in a Wolverine title. And there's been so many retcons. I don't know if this is still true, but at least originally, this tells the first story of Wolverine and Sabretooth in a fight. Now, there may be new stories where they've found each other earlier. I'm not sure. But this is considered a key because of that. And it's also the first appearance of Silver Fox, who was once a love interest of Wolverine, and she was actually in the Wolverine Origins movie. And so if they start developing Wolverine's character in the MCU, which I'm sure they will, I think there's a great chance that eventually she'll pop up. And so I think this is a great book to get. This kind of in the middle of the price range of the first two. Wolverine 1, definitely being after those huge Wolverine keys. Not a super cheap book to get. Wolverine #4, a pretty cheap book to get. And this one is kind of in the middle. So if you're looking for kind of a mid-tier good key, I think this is a good one to pick up. And then I also got some books that include Wolverine classic covers. So these are considered keys because of their covers. This is Wolverine #8, which includes this iconic cover with the Hulk and his Mr. Fix-It, Joe Fix-It persona, and of course Wolverine and his patch persona. And it's a cover by, I don't know how John Buscema, Bushima. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce his name, but it's a classic cover and has a lot of value because of that. And also another classic cover is Wolverine number 27, which contains this awesome Jim Lee cover. And you've heard me talking in my other videos. I think Jim Lee is a good artist to be investing in right now, especially some of his earlier books and iconic pieces of art like this one. All right. Well, in addition to some Wolverine keys, I've recently picked up some Avengers keys. And these are, again, not major keys that I'm going to show you, but they're ones that are on a little bit of a dip right now. And I'll explain that in just a minute. And so if you're interested in them, I think now is probably a good time to buy them. And starting off with Avengers number 227. And so this is the second appearance of Monica Rambeau, which of course her first original name was Captain Marvel. And this book really picked up in value during WandaVision, where she made her debut. And now that we're a few months out of WandaVision, it's cooled off quite a bit. But as you probably know, this character is again going to be in the upcoming Marvels movie, which is still, I'm pretty sure, over a year away. But I expect as we get closer to that movie and people start thinking about Monica Rambeau again, and she's in the trailer, then this book is going to pop again. And if you're priced out of her first appearance, which is Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 16, I think this is a great key to pick up if you like that character. And another one with that character also, Captain Marvel number 1. Again, this book is also on a bit of a dip since we're a few months past WandaVision, but it's her first solo series, and it's just a one-shot actually, I think. I don't think it's actually a series, but the first time that she carries her own title. And it's a book that, again, popped during WandaVision, went from $1 book to going at one time, I think, for like $40. I don't think it's doing that anymore. So we're on a dip. Now it's time to buy if you want a book like this. And another character that's on a little bit of a dip right now, and I'm surprised that actually they're on a dip, but they are, is Kang. And so here's some Avengers books that feature Kang. Avengers number 267, and this is one of my favorite Kang keys. Once you get kind of below, like Avengers number 8, his first appearance. When you're looking at a second or maybe even third tier Kang keys, because this is the first appearance of the Council of Kings. And this is another book that really popped a few months ago during the Loki series, when, of course, hopefully, I think we were far enough away where I can give some spoilers. Click a minute ahead if you haven't seen that show. But of course, the Kang in that series talks about how there's all these variants of him out in the multiverse. And so I can't imagine that Marvel is not going to bring these Kangs together in some way in one of their movies. I mean, that's just going to be a fun, iconic, cool thing. And so this is kind of the first time that happens in comics, where you have all these Kangs getting together as the Council of Kings. And I really think there's a great chance of that happening in the MCU. And a lot of people have also, this went from $1 book to going for a decent amount over the summer, but now it's cooled back off. And so now, if you're interested in that, it's probably a good time to be looking to pick it up. Another book that popped is Avengers 269, which contains a fight between Kang and one of his variants, Immortus. And so people think, well, if this happened, then that would be something that would set this book off. Again, it's cooled off a little bit. Avengers 291, which contains the first appearances of a few Kang variants. And so this is a book like this is good to get, I think, because if any of the variants show up, then of course people are going to really care. And so this contains the first of all, the first Council of Cross-Time Kings. So kind of like the Council of Kings, but another grouping. So I feel, again, I mean, who knows? But I feel like it's super likely you're going to have these Kings get together in some way in the MCU. Will they call themselves the Council of Kings or the Council of Cross-Time Kings? Who knows? But if that matters, if they call themselves the Council of Cross-Time Kings, then of course this book is going to take off. But this also contains other first appearances. I don't even know them all, but I know there's first appearance of Kang Orphan, And probably most importantly, the first cameo appearance of King Nebula, which is a variant of Ravonna Renslayer, who of course was in the Loki series. And so I wouldn't be surprised if she actually ends up being a king in the MCU going forward. And if they do, this is her first cameo, and 293 is her first full appearance. And so if you like that character, Ravonna Renslayer, and especially if you think she has a real story going forward, you might want to consider picking these books up. This also contains the first appearance of Chairman King. And so again, a lot of these King books, you have like 5 or 6 variants, and good things to consider investing in. One more Avengers book that's unrelated to Kang is West Coast Avengers #1 from the limited series. This is the first appearance of this team, the West Coast Avengers. And some people think that we might see that in the MCU at some point because a lot of the founding characters are already in the MCU. Of course, there's Hawkeye, Vision, Scarlet Witch, you have Iron Man, and people are expecting at some point they've got to debut Wonder Man, right? And so they think, well, maybe he would be part of starting a team like this. You also have some of the later characters of this team that have debuted recently, like the U.S. Agent. War Machine became a member later on. And so, yeah, I don't know if they're going to debut that team, and I certainly don't think it's going to be as soon as some people think, but who knows? But again, this is like a dollar book, and so it's a cool thing, I think, to add to a collection. And if it pops, awesome. And if it doesn't, I love these dollar books because, like, it's just cool. Okay, I spent $1 or $2 and got this cool thing that's got a little bit of tiny piece of history, and I'll just keep and think it's neat. And then again, if it pops, well, obviously really sweet. All right, moving on in a completely different direction. 2 last books to show you. First of all, Sandman #13. So this is way switching. We're going to DC now. And this contains the first appearance of Lady Johanna Constantine, which is an ancestor to John Constantine. But it's a character that's been confirmed to be in the Sandman Netflix series. And so I think I talked about this a few weeks ago because I picked up some other Sandman keys. But I think now is the time to maybe think about picking up some of those keys if you think that series is going to be a big one. And I think Constantine, of course, is a popular character in the comic books. And so will Lady Johanna Constantine become a big thing in the show? I don't know. But if you can pick it up for a few bucks like I did, then I recommend considering doing that. And then that brings me to the sleeper of the week, which is this one, Vigilante #36, which contains the first meeting of the Peacemaker and Vigilante. Of course, you might know soon there's going to be a Peacemaker HBO Max series starring John Cena. And if you've seen the trailer, the Vigilante is going to be a part of that. And something that's become a really collectible thing over the past year with comic books are the first meetings of characters. And so people are starting to care about this book, and you can probably find it in back issue bins, for fairly cheap. But it's going for quite a bit more on eBay than it was going, a year or so ago because of that first meeting. So this is my sleeper of the week. Be on the lookout for this one. Probably a lot of people don't know about it, and you could add something cool to your collection or flip it and make a few bucks. All right, well, that brings me to my question of the week. Of course, I showed some Wolverine keys at the beginning, talked about the animated series coming out. So my question is, what is your favorite X-Man? For me, it is Wolverine. I know that's pretty not a really hot take, but I will say when I was a kid, I didn't like Wolverine at all. I didn't get why people liked him so much, and he was in all the comic books I got, and so I was just like, why is he everywhere? And of course, he's got an edge to him, and as a kid, I didn't understand why this edgy guy was so cool to people. But of course, as I've gotten older, I understand nuances and character a lot more, and so I really love Wolverine and his toughness and his grittiness. And as I obviously understand things in a deeper way now, I realize even though he's got this tough guy persona, really he's a very sensitive, caring guy, and he's so loyal and willing to lay down his life for his friends. And I just love that mixture of toughness and also sensitivity and loyalty. I kind of like to think of myself that way, and then I'm tough, but also really care about my friends. Hopefully that's right. But I love Wolverine, at least for that reason. But who is your favorite X-Men? Tell us in the comments below, and that's going to bring us to an end of this video. Of course, if you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate if you would consider doing so. That'd be a big help and an encouragement to me. Like the video, all those things to help the YouTube algorithms out. And leave a comment on anything else in addition to the question of the week. Things you've picked up that you're excited about, or things that you think I should think about picking up. All right, thanks again for watching, and I look forward to the next one.